I like salad. Do you like salad?
Hi, I'm Ho Shin Ho. I'm living in Vancouver, BC, Canada, unceded territory of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I'm an immigrant to Canada from China.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrea coming to you from Victoria, but more importantly known as unceded Akwesasne territory of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations, and I am an immigrant from the United States of America. And you're listening to
Canadian Salad.
Canadian Salad.
What's up, dude?
I think I stink.
Sorry,
I haven't put up any deodorant on in a while.
I'm through
I'm
the
like
screen.
smelling myself. I got
Through
these
the
like
screen, I cannot smell you, baby.
I am so glad, but I'm getting these wafts and they're kind of bouncing
From
off the
yourself.
microphone of my pitties. And so anyway,
I'm so
if
sorry, our audience are here.
this episode is a bit shorter, you know, Andrea had to run to put deodorant on or take a shower. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. But hi, Hoshim.
I just realized I used the word dude, which just grossed me out a little bit.
Yeah, it's very 80s.
I know.
Dude,
I don't
come
like the word
on.
dude.
Just stop,
Yeah,
dude. Okay, dude.
I hate when public when people call me dude. It's like, ew. Ew.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
But
know.
anyway,
Although sometimes I respond like when I'm arguing with people on Facebook. So I'm like,
yeah.
come on, man. Come on, dude. That's not what
Oh,
I'm
see.
saying. You know, I don't know. I feel like it's a way for me to like very passively aggressively be mean using
Okay.
dude.
Dude,
I
it's
know.
mean. Okay.
Using dude.
To me, it's
Yeah.
a bit mean. Who called a dude? Excuse me?
I know. Especially as a woman, excuse moi. Especially a stinky
Exactly.
woman. Anyway, wench would be better. But
Anyway,
Anyway.
welcome back to our episode. Wow.
yes,
I love our
yeah.
conversation already.
I know. It's really, really
Intriguing.
great. And I think
So,
we're
Andrea, what are we talking
Yes.
about this week?
well, Hoshin, I wish I had some wedding music, but we're going to talk about the union of two incredible people that I know, one called Canada and one called an immigrant.
Wow, where's the wedding ring? Am I gonna
It's
be
a
invited to
passport.
the
No, but I do. It's citizenship. Did you know
Okay.
it's actually Citizenship Week, May
What is
13th through the 19th?
What is
Did
that?
you know there's a thing? Okay,
I do
so
not know it's a thing.
it's a thing. Canadian Citizenship Week. That's where I'm at with talking. So May 13th, Mark Miller, who, if you don't know, he is the minister or the lead,
The head.
the head of Immigration, Refugees, Citizenship Canada. And he says, I quote, Citizenship Week gives us all an opportunity to reflect on what it means to be Canadian and give back to our communities. It's a chance to be proud of our diversity, inclusivity, and multiculturalism, and acknowledge the rights and responsibilities we all share as Canadian citizens. A vital part of being Canadian is understanding the history and the reality of Indigenous peoples and their integral role in this country's past, present, and future. End quote. That's Canadian Citizenship Week. What do you
Okay,
think?
wow. I don't know.
Are you
There's
moved?
many.
Are you crying?
So not moved. Oh, I mean, at first I really want to ask, who's the guy who actually wrote that thing because I don't think he's the one who wrote
I
it.
don't
Probably
think,
he's a
no,
writer.
I've read his tweets. There's no way he wrote that.
Yeah, I don't think he wrote that kind of thing. Probably some writer, ghostwriter behind wrote that.
For
And
sure.
then I want to talk to
You
that
know they have writers.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I want to give that person maybe a gentle nod on the head, It's like, hello, anyone in there? Can I knock some senses out of you? Something like that.
It was very like markety, like
Very much
PR-y,
so.
just like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we just pride ourselves on being multicultural, and oh, I acknowledge Indigenous people. Look at me, I'm amazing.
Yeah,
It's
also
kind
really
of, I don't
forced.
know, very
I don't know either.
forced, especially
Also, it's
with,
very problematic too.
Yeah.
I think problematic in the sense that you have to, part of it being Canadian is rolling out diversity and we should be celebrated. But then now a lot of new policy of
oh my gosh.
immigration policy nowadays is
Yes,
the opposite of that is opposite
Dude.
about diversity.
dude. Yeah. I don't
And
know
I
if
was
he
like,
read this
girl.
statement. I know. But it's very contradictory. And I think this
Yeah.
ties so well into citizenship. And, we talked about what brings immigrants to Canada. And a lot of us have experienced a very marketed, polished, pristine Canada that can offer jobs and income and a better way of life. So we're going to talk about citizenship because there are many of us who have become citizens, maybe are considering becoming citizens, some of us who will never become citizens of Canada. And I just wanted to maybe talk about that and get a pulse of what's going on the ground. So Hoshin, tell us your story. What made you, was it love at first sight? What was it about Canada that made you want to be a citizen?
I think I really just love beavers.
Oh.
Not like a
Oh gosh.
as a metaphor, okay?
Oh, keep it PG,
I'm
man.
a proud gay,
PG.
I'm a proud gay man. I'm a proud gay man, okay?
Yes, you
But
like
I
the
do like
cold.
the animal. I
Yeah.
do like the animal. Actually, about the cold, when I moved to Canada, I actually specifically Googled where is the warmest place in Canada. That's why I end up in Victoria.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
But you were like, but what was it about Canada that like kind of sold you
Makes
initially?
you want to be a citizen. Many reasons. First, I was
Yeah.
born in China, born and raised in China, right? So definitely there's a lot of kind of identity thing as a gay man that I cannot enjoy, all the
Okay.
freedom as a gay
Sure.
man.
Yeah.
So I definitely, that's one part of Canada that I really enjoy. How Canada does compared to, the rest of the world, there's a lot of queer, like as a queer, there's a lot of right that we enjoy.
Yeah.
If you really look, use the word as a whole, that Canada is not bad, not
Right.
the worst, and we have gay marriage in 2005. I think it's the number 3 or number 5 country that has that has it in
That
law,
right. Mm-hmm.
that right in law, so which is great. So that's one really important reason for me. And the second is I also love that the Canadian passport allows me to go to so many other places without a
Yes.
visa.
I think
I
it's
think this is
188. It's
I
188
think you are
countries.
wrong.
Is it? Am I wrong?
I think you are wrong. Yeah, because you're absolutely right. So just look at the data. My bad.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Anyway, so as someone who loves to travel, and
Yeah.
before I was holding my Chinese passport, it just almost every country I want to go, I have to apply for visa. It's a pain in the ass.
It's a lot of work.
not-
Yeah.
It's a lot of work and expensive. Applying for visa, it's just a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of documentations and money. So So another reason I want to be a citizen also because we did that little book called A Passport.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the third reason, which is and at the end of the day, is the most important reason, is like I've been here long enough. And then I would made up my mind to, have my life here. I want to settle down here. So if I want to decide to settle down here, I think it is only natural that I want to be a citizen so I can contribute in the political scene here, to vote, to activate my rights,
To run for prime minister someday.
Or maybe someday. I'm not even kidding. Someday.
Yes.
Maybe I will Justin Trudeau, I'm coming, after you.
That's right. One good hair swapped out for another.
Yeah, I will become the
You have
most
amazing
good-looking
hair.
prime minister ever.
You
not
would
Justin
be.
Trudeau.
You have an amazing
Yes.
jawline, like better than
Thank you.
Justin's. Yes.
I take class with this.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Is that how you chop your vegetables? You just whack them against your jawline?
Yeah, my partner
Amazing.
always asked me to, when it's next to him, I was always asked me to put my head to the other side because he always gets
So sharp.
cuts. Yeah, so sharp.
I believe it.
Anyway, what about you, Angel? What is your reason to become a citizen?
Yeah, so I have not taken my test yet. I just got the invitation to take the test.
You are not a
I
citizen?
know.
Cancelled.
I am not. I know. And so actually for a while, my husband and I didn't think we would become citizens only because being from the United States, we just felt like we're going to head back. I think when Trump got elected and everything started going downhill, I remember looking at him being like, I want to be able to stay here. I don't want to be forced back. And so I want that flexibility with our family because my son also is a Canadian citizen. And I think just fear of the future. I watch the news and I'm seeing what's going on in the Supreme Courts and with the leadership in the States. And I just honestly, I know Canada's not perfect, and I'm holding her to the same accountability. But I honestly, I don't have a lot of faith in the future of the United States. And so that's also why I'm like really wanting to stay here. And like you said, I feel like my community is different than it used to be.
Yeah.
The communities, if I go back to the communities that I came from, which I do miss some very core people, but it's a very small number, and they've all moved on and they've all changed. And I don't know how to rebuild after going back. When you've been away for so long, you do feel really disconnected from the people that, or maybe quote unquote, the home that you came from. So I'm going to stay. So I am, thanks to some dear friends, I am listening to a YouTube video. They said that they listened to this YouTube video like 5 or 6 times for studying the test. And so I'm just going to listen to it 5 or 6 times and really try to memorize all the data. So
no, there's no data. I don't remember ever there was any data on the citizenship test. I took the test. It was
20
quite simple.
questions.
I know it's quite simple. I read through that brochure like back and forth, like maybe like so twice, and I get all the answers right.
Well, but you're Hoshin, like you're super smart. I'm Miss 42-year-old gray-haired lady. I don't know. I don't want to fail. So anyway, yeah. So
I mean, it's good to learn it. It's good to learn, though.
It does.
Good,
it is good to learn. Yeah.
But to be honest, it's really good to learn. The one thing I have problem with that citizenship test kind of brochure is like the indigenous history is like 1 page.
It's nothing. Yeah.
It's really nothing. In all the other, like even the history of a lot of other immigrants as well. It's just like maybe a little paragraph. Like head text was a little paragraph there.
Yeah.
It's like, man, like no,
you need a whole freaking
just like a little bit more, maybe booklet. 2 paragraphs at least, not one.
For sure, yes. Well, the citizenship judge I told you about, he was like, "Ooh, I'm going to quiz you on your knowledge of Canada. Who's Sir John A. Macdonald?" And I was like, "The man responsible for residential schools." And he said,
"Great answer."
He said, "Canada's first prime minister." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to remember him that way. I'm going to remember him as what he actually did." Anyway, it was really gross. But you're right. You're right. Yes. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's another episode. So
I know.
But yeah, I think for many of us immigrants, we know what's required. For people who haven't become a citizen yet, I just want to tell you, it is a lot of work, from the immigration process to the PR process and to the citizenship process, right? So the requirements, there's a lot of requirements. Honestly, I did the math recently. So I did the math for getting your permanent residency to getting your citizenship. And if everything goes smoothly and you don't have to redo anything, it's $2,685 a person. That's just for PR. That's your card, your PR application, your English test, your health test, your fingerprints, and then your citizenship application. So it costs. You also can only become a citizen after 1,095 days living in Canada. It's a long time. If you do that hours.
Also, all the costs of living here.
Oh, I know. And all the contributions that you make to the Canadian tax system. Anyway, but what's interesting, milk those cows, baby. What's interesting though is that the citizenship test, there was a great article that came out. It was from CBC. They tested a group of people and 23% of Canadian-born people passed. 23%. The average score was 49%. But you need at least 75% to pass, which I thought was really funny. That immigrants are the ones, of course, who are going to know so much more about Canada. Anyway, we
get a job done.
We do, and we're smart and resilient and amazing.
Exactly. So who's more Canadian now?
Exactly. I know.
The immigrants.
I eat poutine every Thursday morning at 5 a.m. I have a moose in my office. Yeah,
I drink maple syrup as water.
Yeah. The middle name of my son
is Maple.
Canucks. No, it's the Canucks. Yeah.
And specific.
It is. Very, very dedicated people there. But the stats, what's interesting is in understanding like the landscape of like citizenship in Canada, there's actually been a massive decline in citizenship for immigrants, which in part due to COVID. So there is that. But according to the 2021 census data, there's been a 40% decline in the past 20 years. Even with that, though, Canada has some of the highest citizenship rates ever. Actually, 81% of immigrants become citizens. 81%. Okay. That's a herkin lot. That's the highest citizenship rate in the Western world. That's higher than the United States. It's higher than the UK, Australia. So that's pretty high. The highest age bracket, I didn't know this, for becoming a citizen is ages 25 to 29. Did you know that?
People.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Young people most likely become citizens.
Yeah, they do. So that's kind of the overarching kind of landscape of kind of the statistics. But why do people become citizens? Honestly, there's not a lot of data that actually really researches why people become citizens. I had to really look at news articles and kind of gather people's honest opinions. And so one particular person, this was out of a article by the New Canadian Media. They were interviewing this gentleman from India, and they were highlighting that actually the citizenship rate of people from India climbed 171% in the past few years. It's huge. And for him, though, citizenship meant a North American lifestyle. It meant, in his mind, free education, freedom of expression, which you alluded to, Hoshin.
Yeah.
Clean air, which... I mean,
oh, wow.
I've been to India. Yes, I do remember.
China too.
Yeah. Do you wear masks at home? Do you wear the mask when you're out in the street?
No. I mean, I was from the south. The south is better. The north air pollutions are slightly more serious.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether you know when Beijing had smog was a big thing.
Yeah.
Canada, actually, there's a Canadian company sells air to
what? No, that's
to China,
real.
And it was a really profitable business. They even went to the Dragon Den. Not even joking.
Is it in a can? You just open it up and sniff
in a can.
it?
It's just like a mouth.
That's a real thing.
Attached to a can. Yeah, they actually, and they I saw the clip on Dragon. They actually would go up to the mountain, literally go up to the Rockies, and then capture the air, condense it in a can, and ship it to China.
Gosh, no.
Yeah. So this reason of clean air is the actual really materialized reason.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when
it's very profitable.
Yeah, that's business idea. Hoshin.
I know.
There you go.
I know. I should
just ship Canadian air.
Maybe I could just go back home and just blow in everyone.
Oh gosh.
This is Canadian air.
You're eating Canadian ingredients. Yeah. Not really. Everything's imported. Never mind. We got U.S. lettuce. We've got, Russian fish,
bananas.
Mexican bananas. Exactly. Yeah.
I know. But anyway,
that's really interesting. Wow. I wanna learn more about that. The ability to vote. I think that for a lot of people, that is definitely a reason, because as immigrants, we all understand that when you are investing in the systems and you are doing the hard work, when you don't get to have that agency or that at least effort in kind of curbing whoever you want in office, you feel really powerless. I know I have felt powerless and not being able to vote for people that I really think are doing the right things. The other thing was, I thought this was a really interesting point. This comes out of an article with the CBC back in 2023, and it highlighted this immigrant woman's story. She was an architect for 9 years in the Middle East, and then when she came to Canada, she couldn't use it. And she said that for many immigrants, we become citizens because we want to validate the dream we've always been shown, the dream we've always been told, and to go back maybe to home or to not make a permanency in Canada is to kind of reject that dream. It's to kind of say that dream was not something that you should have pursued. It kind of is a feeling of shame when it comes to not following through. And so there is sometimes that kind of maybe pressure, but motivation to become a citizen. I'm here, I've established roots. I can't go back. What would I go back to? What would I go back and start all over, you know? So it's kind of like, I guess I'm just going to make the most of this because this was my dream. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
can
And I
kind of
feel like I
like relate.
resonate with that. Yeah.
Yeah, same. That was like
Yeah.
that is like really like on point. Because
Yeah.
like culturally also in China, I mean, I can't speak for every
Mm,
Chinese obviously, but for my family specifically, like there is this kind of hinted undercover pressure
okay. Oh,
of to hold that passport, to get that passport. I think in many
really?
ways it's just like as you just mentioned, it's like this kind of validation, this kind of proof that you made
Yeah.
it, that
Yeah.
you finally get that final like get that
Mm-hmm.
gold medal, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can echo to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reasons though why people aren't, and I really want to kind of sit with this and then kind of explore just a little bit deeper. So why people aren't. We talked about this in Canadian work excuses. Foreign work
Hmm.
experience is not valued in Canada. It just isn't.
Yeah.
Right. And so what happens if you have that skilled accreditation, if you've got that collegiate degree from another outside university, if you've been an architect for 9 years, Canada's like, not so much. No thanks. So it's not valued. The other thing is that there are only 49 countries globally that allow for dual citizenship with Canada. So that's not a lot. I mean, that's like maybe a quarter of the world's countries because I think there's over 200 countries. So
Hmm.
only 49 countries actually allow for dual citizenship with Canada. Unfortunately, origins of majority of immigrants that do come here are from countries that don't have that dual ability, right?
Yeah, same.
Right, right. And
Identify.
so I imagine, Hoshin, I imagine for you, you knew that in becoming a Canadian citizen, you were no longer a Chinese citizen.
Gotta give it up. Yeah.
Did that take time to really wrestle with that kind of identity piece
Yeah,
for you?
the thing is, I think it's easier for me in the sense that I don't really think my identity necessarily resides in a small book. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? The passport.
yeah,
How I see myself is not it's not defined by that little book.
yeah,
So whether I hold a Chinese passport or a Canadian passport, I know I am Chinese. When people ask where I'm from, it depends the context. I either always say Canadian or say in Canada, I always say Chinese.
yeah.
I'm out when I'm saying usually I'm say Canadian, yeah. Just because I
Mm,
hold a Canadian
mm-hmm,
passport, but I know
mm-hmm.
culturally, identity, I'm proud Chinese. But then again, when I say
Yeah,
Chinese, I don't mean the government. When I say
right,
Chinese, I mean the people, the culture,
right.
the history.
Yeah,
And that's again that is not defined by a little book called passport.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure,
And I so
for
that's why I
sure.
had really no problem giving it up. For my mom, it's way more difficult. And we had a
Yeah.
long, difficult conversation. And she
Mm.
sees it like a betrayal in many ways.
Oh
And
gosh.
because you
Wow.
no longer kind of quote unquote serve your country now that you don't have a passport.
Oh
It's like
wow.
most of my life actually to this point. Yeah, most of my life I was not actually in China. So I was like, I was never really contributing, quote unquote, again, contributing to
Yeah.
China anyway. So why suddenly you care? You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah. But that's hard to hear. That's not like, that conversation. You're like, oh gosh, mom, thanks for that combo. I'm just gonna go become a citizen now. Like for me, that would be really hard to navigate her opinion over what I was doing. I just to acknowledge that I can't imagine that was easy at all to finally reach the conclusion, well, this is what I'm gonna do, even though it might feel like betrayal for you.
What can I say? The maple syrup was really settling in my blood, so I,
You bleed maple syrup instead of soy
yeah,
sauce? Is
so
that what you're saying?
exactly, like I don't eat rice anymore. All I eat is like
You
moose
just eat
meat.
bread,
Yeah, no moose meat.
moose
I'm
meat.
kidding. I'm really kidding. Rice is
Where do
still
you
my
buy
favorite thing. I
moose
love your
meat?
rice. I don't know you hunt for them, I
Fair,
guess.
yeah, London drugs. Gotta sell on moose meat for Canada Day. Amazing.
Anyway,
Yes.
go on. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no. But yeah. So that's a barrier. I mean, there was a report that came out in 2021 from Statistics Canada, and actually they were looking at the reasons why people are not becoming citizens because there has been that 40% decline. Um,
Yeah.
and it's typically the immigrants that are not becoming citizens are those with less education. So they're working very hard, working like the grind of the grind jobs, right? Probably two
Hmm.
or three. They have lower income. which it's hard to say, like, goodness, the taxes here are so high, cost of living is so high. So yeah, if you already have lower income, I'll stay because it's really hard to live here. You know what I mean? And then from non-dual citizenship countries like China and India. And the last piece, why people are not becoming citizens, is due to racism, xenophobia, social barriers. Like because of, if you try to look up why immigrants are becoming citizens, just in Google for news, all you can find is why immigrants are not becoming citizens. And this is one thing that was repeatedly shown over and over and over again in news article and even some scholastic studies, was that the racism, the lack of equity and equality amongst people of color who are trying to navigate a new system in Canada experience a lot of oppression and a lot of bias and a lot of social barriers that you can try for so long, but you can only try for so long. You can only try for so long. And then it's, you know what, I'm going to try somewhere else. So I feel like that those are all very valid reasons why people are not becoming citizens. I mean, we're even with all of those reasons, 81% of immigrants become citizens. I mean, it's still so
high. I mean, it's the highest, as you mentioned.
It is the highest.
Among the Western countries.
Yeah.
But I can see that though, like yes, you might live here, you might have a life here, but if the society keep rejecting you, like, I don't think anyone will have the gut, will have the willingness to obtain that citizenship.
Yeah. Especially if you're alone and your family is, back in your country of origin, or, it's really, really hard to be positive and optimistic about a place that just does not make you feel welcome.
I know.
But I just kind of want to end with not really any answers, just kind of like a reflection, like, how do we make sense of citizenship, Hoshin? How do we as immigrants and even people who have been on both sides and come from very different countries than Canada, how do we make sense of this identity piece and citizenship? What do you think?
I think, as I mentioned just now, like, I do not reside any value of myself into this so-called make-up idea of citizenship, because I think citizenship, or the idea of country or border, really just made up, right? Because of war, because of history, because of many reasons, we decided to draw this line on a map, on a land. Decided, this is the area that called Canada, and even the so-called Canada technically is not really,
No.
Our land is indigenous land, right?
Right.
And then I do not resign this myself to these man-made ideas. So for me, I see as for me to make that decision to give up my Chinese citizenship, become a Canadian citizen, is really what do I want with my life? Where am I gonna live the rest of my life? And which passport is gonna help me to achieve that goal of mine, or help the community, better serve me in the community. That passport, for me, is just a tool to kind of achieve some sort of goal, rather than see as a personal value item.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Well, how about you? How you see it?
Oh, I think because I come from such a strong patriotic culture.
Really? The States?
Oh, yeah. I grew up with this idea of like, oh, America this, America that, America socialism, America. And I feel like because that was ingrained in me, even becoming a citizen, of Canada, I begin to believe that, oh yeah, I am betraying America. I am. And it's not true. It's not true. And I know this, but I feel like that sense of my voice doesn't matter and nothing that I say matters regarding that country because I'm gone, so you're out of the country. You have no say. You're out of the country. You're not even one of us anymore because you've decided to become a citizen of another place. So I do feel like there is just that in that those old tapes that somehow embed themselves underneath, my stinky armpits. And then like the stinky armpits, they just kind of funnel up through my shirt. And it's just like, oh, wait a minute. I don't like that.
Deodorant. Come on, deodorant, baby.
I know, deodorant called the Canadian passport.
Yeah, get that stinky smell out of your face.
At the end of the day, I would say that my citizenship is global. That I don't feel this like marriage or this devotion or adoration of a country. I feel an
No.
adoration to humanity and to our planet. And I feel like that's something that I don't know if a lot of people really resonate with. And I don't know if this is an immigrant experience, but once you've left kind of what's familiar and you explore something different, or even if you travel, the idea of who you are tied to a passport or even a piece of paper, it just becomes really secondary. And it's not.
I also echo to one point you just said about like sometimes you feel like you're not a citizen anymore, so you like don't belong in that group of people. You don't belong in that country or that sense, or even that culture or whatever.
Yeah.
That you feel belong before. I think that's very. I mean, my mom, the conversation I had with my mom kind of that's what my mom trying to the point my mom trying to make. That you
Right.
gave up your Chinese citizenship passport, that means you're not one of us anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
why giving up that book? Somehow I'm becoming a different person.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
my
I'm still your
thought,
son.
yeah, I'm still your son. The culture I grew up with, my
Yeah.
experience, my thought, my who I am as a person, what I love, has not changed at all.
Right.
So that kind of so-called betrayal
Yeah.
is just such a, nonsense in many way.
It is.
And
It
as you mentioned,
is.
like I've been very fortunate to travel, having traveled many places in the world. Like the
Mm-hmm.
more you travel, the more you realize it's such a juvenile idea
Yeah,
to
it
see
is.
yourself only with the value within this value of this book,
Yeah.
passport,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because everyone lives so differently in
They
this world, they
do.
hold different passport, and yet
Mm-hmm.
all these different people also share the same kind of passion and love towards
Mm.
life, towards food, towards laughter, and we all so different and hold different passport. And at the end of the day, we're also so the same. We share so much
Yeah.
commonality. Why don't we just focus on that rather than
Right.
who holds what
Right.
passport?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Interesting story. I was sitting on a plane. I was going to Nepal, and there was a gentleman sitting next to me from India. He saw my passport. He was the consulate of India in Nepal. And he
Okay.
said, he noticed my American passport, and he says, you probably should probably get a different passport. That's not going to be very popular in a few years. I was like, oh, thank you.
That's right.
Thanks so much. Yeah. And this was 2009. This was a while ago. So
Oh
whoever
my
you are,
God.
gentlemen,
Fortune
consulate
teller.
of India to Nepal, thank you for your advice. I'm doing
Fortune
it.
teller
Be
too.
proud. Yes.
I know.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's really the episode. Is just this is something that I know we all are navigating, and so just to encourage anyone out there who maybe just became a citizen or are considering it, navigate it how you need to navigate it, and just remember that you belong to this beautiful planet, and you are more than just a piece of paper. So
You are more than just a piece of paper. And for
yeah.
those who already is Canadian citizens or born and raised as a Canadian citizen, maybe
Mhm.
also you can reflect on that as well. What is this piece of
Yeah.
document, what it means to you? What kind of value you hold on to it?
Yeah.
And when
Exactly.
you travel outside of Canada, how do you hold yourself?
Right. Mm-hmm.
How does this passport make you feel?
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. I wonder
Yeah.
what Canadian feels like. I wonder if
I don't know either how they feel. Maybe
I
they
don't
just feel
know.
privileged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Canadian salad pop quiz. Are you ready,
Yeah, do a
Ocean?
pop quiz. Yes, I'm very
Yes.
ready. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I am ready.
Mhm.
Yes. Would you like to
Good,
go
good, good.
first since I've been talking a lot?
Okay, you have mentioned their Canada passport based on 2024 survey give you access to 188 countries visa free.
Yes.
Do you know compared to the rest of the world's passport where Canada lies in that ranking by the numbers of free visa visits? Free
Oh,
ac-
I see.
to
Yes. Ooh. I think the Canadian passport is kind of low on that. I want to say it's maybe like 7 or 8.
Oh my God, you are so right. It's number 7.
Is it number 7? Yay! And is
Oh
it
my God.
Singapore that's number 1? That has the number ones,
No,
or
number
Japan?
one, there's many of them are number one. They all have 194 number of countries
Oh.
with visa-free access, 194, and they
Oh.
are France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and Singapore, and Spain. So
Okay.
both answers that you gave were
Okay.
correct.
Okay, they're
Um,
up there. Yeah, I had heard
yeah, they're up there.
Japan and Singapore being really high. So, well, very interesting. Well, yay!
Yay!
I'm just.
Oh my God, you're
I'm
so
gonna
good.
go. I'm gonna go milk a beaver later. uh,
You're more than a pretty face, okay?
Thank you,
You are so
Ocean.
smart.
Aw, I'm so sweet. Okay, are you ready for yours?
Yes.
In what year was Canadian citizenship first created?
Wow, I don't know.
Guess what year?
Is it in the 1800s?
No. Ooh.
1900s. Oh my God. Oh.
1900s. Yeah.
1909. We don't know.
Womp womp. That's my sound effect for when you didn't get it right. So it's actually 1947.
47? Oh my
It
God.
was
That's
the
after
Canadian
the-
Citizenship Act.
Oh my
It's after
God.
what?
That after the Chinese Exclusion Act. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's go on.
Girl, that's a conversation. Anyway, yes, 1947. That is the Canadian Citizenship Act. So that's when citizenship was first created in Canada for gross reasons that we all know. Anyway, so thanks for
Thank you
joining
so
us,
much.
everyone. Yes, thank you for
Yes.
joining us, and thank you, Hoshin, for sharing your relationship with Canada with all of us.
And thank
It's
you
good.
too also sharing that. Yeah, now
Yes.
everyone else who listen to our podcast, please also share your relationship and your reflection
Yeah.
between you and your passport with us,
Yeah,
please. You can go
exactly.
to our TikTok or our Facebook or our
We only have
Um,
Instagram and TikTok.
oh
my love.
sorry,
Yeah.
oh my bad. Go to our
It's okay.
TikTok, Instagram, which is Canadian Salad. So you
Yes.
can easily find us. So you can just leave a comment also on our podcast in all the major podcast platforms.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can leave
Or
us
send us
a
an email.
comment. Yeah. Even on our website, we've got a form you can fill out or just send us an email. hello@canadiansalad.ca.
Mhm.
And we'd love to
We'd
hear
love
from
your
you.
comment.
Yeah, we would.
Good or bad.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
we don't
exactly.
shame anyone.
No, we don't. No
Mhm.
shame here. Nothing but love.
And
Brotherly.
unlike Ana Grande that did not reply to my
Didn't?
message,
Oh my
we
gosh.
reply to everyone.
We do.
I also
Right?
emailed Justin Trudeau and he has
I
not replied.
know. Same.
me.
I'm still waiting for a response by Jagmeet Singh. So I know.
These
But
people, like,
us
we are like the
we
are not like those people.
respond. Yes.
We are
Yes, my
better than
love.
them.
That's right. We are.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, thank you everyone for joining us, and we will talk to you next week. Okay.
Talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Canadian Salad is written and produced in British Columbia, Canada by Hoshin Ho and Andrea McCoy. Theme music is by Naver Avatyan from Pixabay.
This has been a good Janklin production.